Thread Zuckerberg's attempt to replace Twitter gained a staggering 30 million users in its first 24 hours. This is record-breaking growth and poses an existential threat towards Twitter, and Elon Musk is clearly terrified by it. Less than a year after buying Twitter, his whole app could go down the drain along with his $44 billion investment. However, behind the surface, this is just the next step of a public rivalry that's been raging for years. And this rivalry is leading to public boycotts and exploding satellites and a supposedly upcoming MMA fight. And right now Musk is getting desperate. And this is why he's threatened a huge lawsuit against Threads just within hours of Zuckerberg bragging about the massive influx of people joining Threads. Musk launched into claims of industrial espionage and intellectual property theft. In a cease and desist letter, he called Threads a copycat app, claiming that Threads stole dozens of Twitter's top employees in breach of their contract and the law. He's even claiming they took trade secrets and knowledge of Twitter with them. And there's also another former Twitter employee who's been accused of stealing tens of millions from the company during the transition. These are grave accusations which could close down Threads and could lead to lengthy prison sentences for anyone involved. Meta has obviously denied the accusations, saying that nobody from Twitter has worked on designing Threads. But that begs the question, why is Elon Musk going to such great lengths to stop Threads? Now, by releasing a direct competitor to Twitter, Zuckerberg is going for the throat. He's aiming to take down Twitter, control more of the social media space, strengthen his hold on power, and humiliate his rival. The only question is, will this actually work? It's expected to release on the 6th of July 2023, and Threads is solely designed to replace Twitter. Now, Zuckerberg's hope is that he'll be able to recreate what he did to MySpace all those years ago. With one final push, he might finally be able to monopolize yet another chunk of the internet. And this can come at any waste of time for Musk as the business side of Twitter. It's looking very shaky right now, and Musk has always known how bad of a business model Twitter really is.
Do you have any regrets buying Twitter?
I think it was something that needed to be done. I'd say that the pain level of Twitter has been extremely high. This hasn't been some sort of party. It's been really quite a stressful situation.
But the lawsuit isn't uncalled for. I mean, Meta's approach to business has always been described as vulture, like as they acquire competitors or destroy them by copying that product. And this exact copycat culture is actually exposed during a U.S. House Judiciary Committee probe, which revealed emails from Facebook employees stating, quotes, "Copying is faster than innovating." When asked by the Judiciary Committee whether Facebook ever threatened to claim the products of another company was also trying to acquire that company, Zuckerberg responded, "Not that I recall," which is a little weird considering that this is a fundamental part of what Meta actually is. It all starts in 2011 with Facebook Check-in Deals, which was a direct copy of Groupon and Living Social. Then there was Facebook Gifts, which starts in September 2012, a direct copy of the gifting app Karma. Then Facebook acquired Past in 2013, or Facebook Messages with Email, which was Facebook's attempt to kill Gmail, or the infamous Instagram Stories. That was a direct copy of Snapchat, not to mention Facebook Pope, which was just a direct copy of Snapchat itself. That was launched in December 2012. Some celebrities are already testing the waters. Gordon Ramsay and Shakira, for example, have already made their first Threads post after being given early access. And there's a lot of reasons for Musk to be worried here, especially considering Twitter's recent history. So what's Zuckerberg's plan? Well, he's been pretty blatant by his ambition to steal Twitter's 250 million users, as the release statements describe it as a text-based conversation app. And anyone who's used the app knows how similar it is, blending in Instagram's aesthetic. With Twitter's functionality and Meta's ultimate power here is that anyone who has Instagram will very easily have a Threads account, as the two apps share the same accounts. And you will be able to migrate your followers over as well, giving Instagram users a seamless way in. And the app actually shares the name Threads, with an early attempt by Zuckerberg to supplant Snapchat. That app is also pretty much identical to what it was meant to replace, but it never really took off, as Meta was forced to shut it down shortly after release, deciding instead to just steal Snapchat's story system and add it to Instagram. But this attempt to steal another app's user base might not fall flat on his face. Zuckerberg made us start with Facebook by undercutting and replacing MySpace, and more felt like an instant. MySpace fell off the map, and Zuckerberg was handed a tech monopoly worth tens of billions, controlling the entire world's information. In fact, In an interview with Lex Friedman, Zuckerberg went into his reasoning for the app, saying that Twitter should have 1 billion users, not just 350 million with Threads. That's clearly his goal here, although in the same interview Zuckerberg actually praised Musk's choice to make the company leaner.
I do think that Elon led a push early on to make Twitter a lot leaner. A lot of the specific principles that he pushed on, basically trying to make the organization more technical around decreasing the distance between engineers at the company and him, like fewer layers of management. I think that those were generally good changes.
Barring thousands of workers at once, it's suddenly they've both got in common, so it's understandable that they'd be able to bond over it. However, there's actually a few reasons why they might succeed with Thread. For one, the integration with Instagram means millions of users have already joined hassle-free. And because Meta has the servers and infrastructure ready, this huge influx of users hasn't really caused many problems for Threads yet. And one of the hidden advantages that Zuckerberg has is his reputation with advertisers as well. Whilst Twitter struggles to bring in ad revenue, Thread can just hook itself into Meta's monolithic advertising machine if the ad revenue isn't enough. Meta's already announced that Threads will have its own subscription service. It'll work just like Twitter's new verified subscription system, charging users a monthly fee to get the badge. Because it's a new app, and it doesn't have the same connotations that Twitter's blue checkmark has, they've gotten virtually no backlash for this. The deciding difference will most likely be celebrities, though, as people only use Twitter because pretty much every public figure is on it. If they all start switching to Threads, then it won't take long before they bring their followers with them. And this process is already underway. Almost every notable person is on Threads right now, thanks to Instagram. But here's where the problem lies. Threads is designed to cater to a specific demographic that aligns with Zuckerberg's views, and the platform exerts an incredibly high degree of control over users' feeds, censoring or removing any content that doesn't align with its narrative. I mean, Meta is already deleting entire threads on Threads. That goes against anything that Meta doesn't like. Threads like this story about cocaine being found in the White House that was deleted after people in the thread were wondering if it could possibly have been Hunter Biden. And even if you follow someone whose opinions haven't been approved by the platform's standards, you then receive a warning and a reprimand from the platform's fact-checking system, creating an environment where only certain views are tolerated and dissenting opinions aren't allowed. But it's not just Threads users who should be worried. Elon Musk is in the most danger from this. In fact, Elon Musk desperately tried to reverse his deal to buy Splits a month after negotiations began. Lawsuits were threatened by both sides, and it looked like the buyout might just evaporate after years of waiting. But eventually it became too late for Musk to back out, and after threats of lawsuits from both sides that nearly led to in trial, the $44 billion deal went through, and this was only the start of the chaos. Once Musk was in charge, he began by sucking around half of the workforce in just a few days. From the chief executive and the CFO to the lowliest engineers working on Twitter servers, nobody was safe. This was one of the most dramatic firing sprees any recent company has seen before, and this was simply because the company was just months away from bankruptcy. Twitter was tracking to lose over $3 billion a year and had $1 billion in the bank. So that's 4 months to death if we do not cut costs immediately. This is not a caring, uncaring situation. It's like if whole ship sinks, then nobody is going to drop. And after Elon Musk would go into fire around 80% of the Twitter stuff, this left the multi-billion-dollar app with just under 2,000 employees. What Elon Musk has done with Twitter recently is remarkable. He's made Twitter a bastion of free speech again. He reversed Trump's permanent ban, exposed the government involvement in Twitter, highlighting the censorship machine that was poisoning social media behind the scenes. And yet this came at a giant cost. Although his silence of critics from places like Turkey has less than doubt as how free the app truly is. But nonetheless, there was absolutely no doubt that Twitter is a bastion of free speech in the social media space, and the cost of this was huge. The media, governments, and every celebrity you can think of would be quick to denounce Twitter. And because these big woke companies are now afraid of Musk's Twitter, this has led to over half of Twitter's advertising clients to leave since the takeover. And so when Musk tried to supplement this revenue by charging for verified badges, already all the major celebrities have joined Threads, people like Kim Kardashian and Mr. Beast. And this means people are willingly switching to Meta's sanitized, controlled platform. They're happy to trade away the freedom that Twitter's actually providing us right now, one of the only free speech platforms in the world, for a more flashier interface with fast loading times and more censorship. And once, there are definitely issues with Twitter and Elon Musk. Twitter is undoubtedly one of the only bastions of free speech left in the world, and people are happy to watch it burn. Which is why Threads is going to take over. And that's why eventually, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, and Meta's other apps like WhatsApp will all be consolidated into one super app, and then this super app will then be integrated into the wider metaverse. Now it's uncertain how the integration will actually work in the future, but it's the next logical step regardless. Meta having control of the ways people interact through the internet and the devices that they choose to use doing it should absolutely terrify you. Threads is just the next step for Meta to monopolize how humans interact with each other. And with the Threads app popping off right now, this is a dark sign of where things are going to go. Tell us your thoughts and comment below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more informative videos.